What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode, whatever of the m3Atl0af blog. I'm sorry, it's kind of late right now, and I forgot the episode number, but it's on the screen right now, or in the title, rather. And, right now, I am with, two special guests who have joined me at this late hour, and I thank them for joining me. Introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Red of Team Triforce, aka Isaac, aka Isaaclipse. I am a collaborator of a pretty long time with m3Atl0af Man, and I'm honored to be here on the blog.
Awesome. And Lawrence.
This is m3Atl0af blog after dark. No, this is RoyalDudeLorenzo, also known as
After Hours.
After
I'm
Hours.
Blue Link. Also, I'm the co-host on the F.U.N channel. You guys know me from the videos, as well as I have my own channel. Like, comment, subscribe, yada yada yada, all that good jazz. And yep,
Awesome.
here to talk about some good stuff today.
By the way, m3Atl0af blog after hours might actually be a thing sometime in the future. Not foreshadowing anything anytime soon, but hey.
Just saying, we are going to sound like we are on medication right now.
Yeah, we just want to.
We'll be picking up m3Atl0af from Olive Garden, guys, at 2 a.m.
We're in some heavy olives right now.
Just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, we are recording this late at night, so we apologize if we sound really tired or
droopy.
Or intentionally trying to keep our voices low because we don't want to wake up anyone in our houses, and we're really just trying to get this over with. And we're getting tired, and this guy has a test in the morning. By this guy, I mean Lawrence, but yeah.
So please, leave all your unnecessary, unwanted criticism behind. I'm talking to you, YouTube commenters, and just enjoy the following review of news that you know you want to hear. Let's get to it.
Alrighty, so today's topic are two movies. One of them is confirmed and one of them is rumored, and we are here to speculate on what they could be about, a la episode 1 of the m3Atl0af blog. So for those of you who have been following the series, obviously, you all know that in the very first episode that we ever did, we speculated about the 2017 My Little Pony movie, because we know absolutely nothing about it. We speculated on what it could be about, what we want to see in it, our hopes and thoughts about it, and that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here, but we're going to be covering two movies. Hopefully, we won't be spending too much time on them, but we're just going to be giving our general thoughts on them and letting you guys know, what we want to happen in these. So it's pretty much going to be similar to that episode. So from the title card alone and from the title itself, you should probably know already what we're going to be doing, and that is none other than the 2016 Yu-Gi-Oh movie that's announced to be in Japan. No news about an American release, but it's probably going to happen at some point. And the rumored Mario movie that is going to be created by Nintendo and Sony. So we're going to be starting off with Yu-Gi-Oh first, since the news for that got out first. So
it's time to
this may be the first Yu-Gi-Oh related video
so
I've done in a
you
while
got
on the
cut off
channel.
there. All I heard was like a do and then a drr.
This may be the first Yu-Gi-Oh video I've done on my channel in a long time. But yeah, so
oh yeah. If you guys don't remember, what was it, 4 years ago?
This channel started out as Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, he used to put out his deck videos about. He's like, hey guys, so I have some great cards for you. Check out my deck, and I was like, oh Ray, it's Fetus Ray. Go check out his videos, guys. They're really cute.
Oh jeez. Okay.
In a good way. When the days that he used to hide his identity with a bandana.
We'll get to the reason behind that in another episode. So, anyways, Yu-Gi-Oh! We all know about it, we all love it, we all love the card game, we all love the anime, we grew up with it, at least I'm assuming, we all did. And, yeah, there's been plenty of movies, about the, that tie in with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. And lo and behold, we're finally getting another one. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies have actually been a common trend in the past few generations, or decade-long generations. Like, back when Season 0 was the only anime that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had at the time based off of the manga. It had like a little 30-minute movie that was... I wasn't sure if it was released in theaters or released in Japan, but I'm assuming you guys have at least seen or heard of the original Season 0 and the movie that came with it. What do you guys think about that before we move on into the 2016?
Well, I mean, Season 0, 30-minute movie. Well, I'll be honest with you, the Season 0 movie that I saw was the abridged series, so I can't really comment on that. However, based on the animation of that I saw in that, even though the colors were kind of washed away and obviously they weren't as clear and distinct as they are in the official anime. Exactly, it's very primitive, to modern anime. Very, very primitive. But it was still very nice to watch, even though
it was alright.
Even though it was the abridged series. I mean, and what I'm speaking of the animation directly and not the actual film, because I did not see the actual film. All I do know is that
Season 0 was kind of animated in the same way as Dragon Ball Z was. Like that's basically like, imagine Yu-Gi-Oh! By the animators of Dragon Ball Z, except with like overly muscly men or anything like that.
Was this backstory animated after the original series?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Is this later animation?
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Started out as a manga, and then in the late 90s, it became popular enough to have its own anime.
And card game.
Yep. And then afterwards, the anime got rebooted from, like, the ground up. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to, like, I know we're supposed to be talking about the movie at this point, but I just want to clarify. Yu-Gi-Oh! Did not start out as, like, with the card game factor or anything like that. It literally started out as, the story of Yugi and the Pharaoh, and we didn't even know he was a Pharaoh at the time, that he was just this mysterious spirit that overshadowed him and played dark shadow games with evil people. And obviously he would always win because he's the king of games, and he would play different kinds of games in every episode and every manga chapter. Like, there would be one where he plays solitaire on, like, while climbing to the roof, where basically you have like a deck of solitaire cards, and each number represents how much steps you take up or you take down, and the goal was to not fall down while climbing up to the school roof. And obviously Yugi won because he's the master of knowing of what card is where, even though he shuffles them. So
and I kind of want to add a point to that, saying that Yu-Gi-Oh
is pretty dark,
really genius, and it's really genius at the same time, because even though that's where I see my first like deaths technically, because when you spoiler alert, when you send somebody to the Shadow Realm, you're basically killing them
in the Japanese version.
Exactly. And so, honestly, I used to get so terrified by like the Pegasus chapters and how the Shadow Realm and how he would steal their soul. And I used to always ask my parents like, "What happened? Where's your soul? What?" And I used to think it was actually the Adam's apple, and I was like, "So where's my soul? Is it my Adam's apple?"
I watched.
It's genius.
Yes, don't let girls touch it.
It's genius. I watched the first season as a kid, and like I literally thought the same about Pegasus. Like, not the Adam's apple thing, but like, he's like a menacing villain, like taking people's souls away when you challenge him to a card game and you lose.
Yeah, and it's genius because it incorporates real Egyptian mythology, and and hieroglyphics, because I know this because I read up. I'm a history junkie myself, and I really read up a lot on Egyptian mythology, and like if I'm remembering correctly, the pharaoh's actual name is Atem, right?
Yep. Spoiler alert. Though anime ended years ago, it shouldn't be spoiler anymore.
It's very much related to
spoiled spoiler.
An actual pharaoh that existed. I'm trying to remember.
That's what I like about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you can't prove nor disprove that these events actually transpired 5,000 years ago, or 3,000 in the Japanese anime, but yeah.
Yeah, there was Atem is a very, very common Egyptian name, regardless of whether or not. And it's just like that twist of like how they include that stuff. And you know what? Even in the theatrical movie and not Bonds Beyond Time. I'm talking about the Pyramid of Light, which we will get to. I know Ray
we
wants
will
to
get
talk
to
about it in a
immediately after
second,
this.
but I think the Egyptian mythology is just amazing. I just had to touch upon that because the mythology is just really what drove Yu-Gi-Oh for such a long time, and because it's based on real Egyptian mythology that, like, there's a pharaoh who they believed one day would come back, you know?
Yeah. So
I just love how this was a show about a card game, but it was more than just a card game. It was a battle between good and evil, and friendships were there. And I laughed when you guys joked about the one time I mentioned Heart of the Cards, and one of you said it's basically cheating.
I don't think it was me.
Someone mentioned it, but
I think it was Eric.
It's got a cool backstory to it. And I don't mean the synopsis of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just mean the spine of the whole story about a struggle to get your brother back and it turning into a struggle to really accept that you aren't the best, Kaiba, and a hero having to fight his inner demon, it being someone who possesses him. It was a cool concept. I admit I've never watched Yu-Gi-Oh! To the end, and it was really on and off. At that time, I was still stuck between liking Pokemon and Naruto, and
same here.
I stuck with Pokemon for a while just because Naruto, it felt like another Dragon Ball Z to me. But onto Yu-Gi-Oh, it was fun to watch, and I loved every bit of it. And I admit, even though it changed in its following seasons, I still followed up for the cool duels and the awesome monsters.
Yeah, definitely. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a much more deeper series than what anyone usually interprets it to be, because it's quite literally not just about the card game. It's more about like the deeper like characters and storylines and everything, and the characteristics of how these characters like evolve and grow throughout the series. And really, it's a really interesting story. And like I'm hoping that Netflix ends up putting up all 5 seasons on the thing. Like, I would recommend, watching the Japanese version if you're like, if you're up for like watching it with subs and all that, and if you don't mind like all the violent stuff happening in it.
If you're in Canada or if you're in Europe, it's your chance to actually watch it on Netflix. You guys get that bonus, because here in the US, we don't have it yet.
So Laura.
We just have the first 2 seasons on Netflix so far, but if you guys want that retro, like good 4Kids experience, then
torrented.
And really, the 4Kids like
all you guys out of America.
Yeah. To be honest, the 4Kids version of Yu-Gi-Oh isn't really that bad. It's like, obviously there's censors and they gotta make it safe for kids, so they gotta take out all the killings and all the sexual stuff and everything.
But
it's not as terrible as people make it out to be. It's adequate. It's really good, and it's what we grew up with.
It's honestly not as bad as any other thing that 4Kids touches.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if the show would have made it into America if 4Kids hadn't done what they did.
Exactly, and 4Kids did a really good job. Honestly, it's like they still made it dark, but for kids, but then it was still so freaking interesting and so colorful and everything.
It was a cool show at its time. I remember the art style was interesting.
It evolved throughout the seasons. Yeah,
I'm gonna say it had this slightly grunge type look where the characters didn't really seem to be they didn't look vulnerable and adorable. They looked almost like they were the slender figures you'd see in hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Like, in a really, really, really broad way of describing the art style.
How oddly
it was kind of grungy and horrifying to see the characters, especially when something like when they were actually being attacked by, say, for life points. When they take an attack full head on, that was some really intense scenes.
Yeah, it really is. So, it always makes me wonder, like, how it exactly, like, I don't want to experience it, obviously, but it makes me wonder
how it translates into real life.
Yeah, like, what kind of pain are they experiencing when they lose life points, especially when the monsters are real in the Shadow games?
Well, they don't move. They just stay in that cringe yell, and then you don't see what happens next. It just cuts to whoever wins. But I guess Kaiba, when he gets taken by Pegasus, I don't remember the episode in detail, but I do remember that he was screaming, or like he froze, and it happens, and then you just get that one scene where Kaiba's not there anymore, and you paint the picture of what happened right after that. So some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
They use a technique in movies that's really cool, where sometimes what's scary isn't what you actually see, but what you don't see.
Mm.
You don't see them actually get killed. You see them about to take on the pain or whatever, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And that's the ambiguity.
That's a lesson for you kids to be good, or else you'll be banished to Shadow Realm.
So, I mean, yeah. Oh, quick thing. I was looking up earlier on the Yu-Gi-Oh! The news about the movie 2016, and there's only one article about it, and it's literally sentence long. It's one sentence long.
Where are you reading this article?
Yu-Gi-Oh!.Wikia.
You should probably just link it to him in the chat.
This new movie will be released in Japan in 2016 and is starring Yugi Moto and Seto Kaiba as protagonist.
Internet news.
I am so shocked.
Internet journalism in a nutshell.
Well, at the same time, it is kind of shocking that they're actually making a movie about the original series. So,
I am so shocked.
The original? Wait, so this movie is about the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And not a spin-off story?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, because that's why I'm focusing mainly on the classic series instead of the the later generations. But let's move, because there's obviously more Yu-Gi-Oh movies beyond the Season 0 one. Obviously, there's the big one that was heavily promoted back in 2004 that I got so hyped for, because I was big into Yu-Gi-Oh in the 2000s, and I was always saying that what they need to do to capitalize and make me happy, they need to make a Yu-Gi-Oh movie. Yeah. I was saying that, and then months later, the announcement came out on the internet: Yu-Gi-Oh movie coming soon. I remember that. I remember reading it. I remember going to the Yu-Gi-Oh movie website, seeing the trailer and everything. I got so hyped.
Was it released in theaters or straight to video?
It was released in theaters. It wasn't like an anime.
Sick.
It wasn't a TV special. It wasn't direct to DVD. This was a freaking worldwide, nationwide theater release for weeks. Not even a limited release. Literally a major motion picture.
I remember that movie coming out.
It's really hard for Yu-Gi-Oh to be a movie,
Yeah.
That's not
even now
to say. Pokemon comes out with a movie every single year.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
but Dragon Ball comes out with a movie every few years, but then a live action movie doesn't really happen. Pokemon never had a live action movie. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Let's not talk about the DBZ live action stuff.
I mean the Dragon Ball evolution.
What a terrible misrepresentation of aliens.
I don't know about
they revived Piccolo with wonton soup at the end of the movie.
I don't know about you. I kind of like the Evolution movie.
We'll talk more about the Evolution movie.
Back on topic of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Later on.
I just wanted to say that whenever I remember the excitement of that movie being around, and just the fact that there was a movie for Yu-Gi-Oh! Made me really it put me in disbelief. I didn't think at that time that anime, especially anime on kids TV channels, would actually get turned into movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It proved, the movie alone proves its popularity.
Yeah, and I was so excited about it, but I never got to go see it, so it's definitely something I have to go back and check out. I'm willing to go rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh! And talking about it now gets me excited. I really wish that any of the following movies for the following series had that much quality, though.
I have it on DVD, so in case you guys ever want to have a meetup,
want to.
Cool.
Have a commentary on it.
I mean, here's what I have to say. And here's a good news for you, Isaac. in some way, the Yu-Gi-Oh movie is not really that canon with the series. It's
the new movie
like
or the current or the old one?
the Pyramid of Light. It
Yeah,
comes
I
out,
was I
okay.
was I
Well,
was
it
I was
comes
gonna
okay.
I was gonna bring this up. Like some
Yeah,
people usually
it
regard the
comes
movie to be
after.
non-canon. The thing is
It
though is
comes.
that
Yeah.
for the thing is though is that because listen, the movie was made by like 4Kids like and like in collaboration with Warner Brothers with the official Yu-Gi-Oh people's permission, and it also came out in Japan eventually, obviously. Oddly enough, the version that we got had some deleted scenes that only made it into the Japanese version, which is kind of weird since this was an American-made movie. But the um the thing is though is that Kazuki Takahashi or whoever, somebody went on record to say that it's not canon with the main anime series. However, 4Kids actually went out of their way to mention, like, not explicitly, but sort of mention the events of the movie in the Orichalco season.
Well, yeah, because he wins Battle City and then he goes to the Orichalcos season, which is basically
The movie
it takes place in between.
yeah, the movie's supposed to take place in between.
Exactly. So I mean, it is canon, but technically,
It's like, let's just say it's canon in the English version. It's not canon
technically
in
it's canon.
Japanese because
Technically, it's
in
canon, but at the same time, if you just think about it, it's not really canon.
my head
That's
canon is
awesome.
that it is canon. But like the thing is though is that in Japan this movie came out when the series already finished. So imagine it being confusing that they're getting started on GX in Japan and already like we have like a Yu-Gi-Oh movie that takes place way in the middle of the series.
How
Yeah,
many
and you know
Yu-Gi-Oh
what? That
movies are
movie
there
was
in
dark.
total, though?
So far there's only been 3, counting the season 0 movie and Pyramid of Light.
Yeah, that movie was scary, honestly. I
Yeah, that
mean,
So the
when you're a
first one
kid
was
and you were watching
four
it for
kids
the
did
first time,
4Kids did a lot of unbelievable stuff that they would never
yeah,
do in
that
their
movie was
animes.
actually PG-13 when you when if you wanted to go see it, you had to be PG. It was PG-13.
I think it was PG. I don't know, cause there was a bunch of little.
Oh,
When I went to go see it with my dad, there was a bunch of little kids in the theater with me,
of
like my
course,
age,
it's
and we got free
Parent or
cards.
Guardian.
I got all 4
Yeah,
cards in one shot because they forgot to give it to us at the ticket thing. So my dad,
yeah, me too.
cause here's what happened: we went to go see the movie in like the movie theater in Cross County in Yonkers, and we went there and they didn't play the movie on time. They were still playing commercials like they would do before the movie, not trailers, but those little PowerPoint adverts that you see on the movie screen. And
Yeah.
so my dad went to go tell the people to go start the movie, and they started it, and he came back with like the Yu-Gi-Oh packs that they forgot to give the ticket people, and I ended up getting 5 of them, and in each of them there was like 1 card each, and I ended up getting all 4 promotional cards that you can only get 1 of per viewing.
Is it Water Pond, Blue
Water,
Eye,
Water
Shining
Pond,
Dragon?
Sorcerer of Dark Magic, and Pyramid of Light.
Right.
Nice.
Sorcerer, Dark
And
Magic.
I got an extra Pyramid of Light, and I gave I gave like 2 of them to my cousin.
Here's the
Pyramid of
thing,
Light
I
Squared.
really like the pyramid. Honestly, this is the one thing I had criticism. The Pyramid of Light in the movie is a lot cooler than the Pyramid of Light in the actual card game.
It really
In
is.
terms of design, because the design is really, really awesome.
The description
And
straight up says destroy all god cards on the field,
yeah,
but the actual
but
card
then
doesn't say it.
yeah, but then the actual card is stupid. And
The actual
no
card is very
offense, but
the actual card is very situational. You can
it's
only use it if you have
literally
Androsphinx and
yeah.
Spixtalea in your deck.
And it has to, and exactly, and it has to be an actual
I
pyramid
never went
of,
with the
it's an
cards
actual pyramid
anyway.
of light.
I always went with whatever I thought it was. Like, I mean, I didn't really play the game as much because I guess I just didn't get into it. My brother tried to duel me, and I guess I didn't understand it at first, but I did like looking at the design of the cards and,
Yeah, that's really what
really
makes it
working up
magical.
imagination around the description. I always loved the god cards and the
Yeah.
cards shown in the TV show, but the description for some of the cards, the more obscure ones that wouldn't really be mentioned, like I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if it wasn't a god card or if it wasn't like a really well-known card, like if it wasn't pulverization, if it was some other magic or trap card,
Yeah,
and the description would be really different from what was shown on the show, I would immediately just toss out whatever the card says. I wouldn't throw the card literally, but I would just disregard whatever the card says, because sometimes those cards are just poorly designed anyway, and it just
Some of
didn't
them
excite
are
me as
really.
much as
Honestly, on
how
that
much
note,
the show excited me.
yeah, it's
In
Pyramid of Light.
in recent
That
times,
card was horrible.
in recent times, the show went out of its way. Not the show. The trading card game went out of its way to simplify the description of the cards so that people can better understand what the hell it's saying.
I really wish that
honestly,
there were better
Pyramid
translators, because this is off topic with the media, but aren't the card games for all shows designed by some toy or trading card company outside of the U.S., and then someone just translates it and brings it here to the U.S.? Most of those cards are produced by trading card companies outside, so it's America's fault. It's American trading card game companies' faults for misrepresenting those cards in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's like even the and I'm gonna keep on bringing up this example because honestly, I love the cards effect, but I hate the design of the Pyramid of Light. I just do. I like the movie version a hell lot better. It's just because like the one in the movie version is more like this unique because it's blue, has that eye in the middle, and has the top. The one on the trap card itself is literally just a yellow pyramid.
That is kind of true, yeah. I mean, it's cool to have as like a novelty, but I can never see myself using that in my deck unless I went with the anime rule. I literally did that once, like when we used to use like bootleg Egyptian gods in our decks back when I hung out with Ramon and everyone in the choir and everything. And
Okay, and we're back.
Alrighty, so
just like all those other dark card users that are banned from the games, we're out of the Shadow Realm. Was there ever a way to actually get out of the Shadow Realm?
It ultimately depends. Like if a bad guy sends you to the Shadow Realm, you have to wait for the bad guy to be defeated and sent to the Shadow Realm himself for you to be free. That's a general rule in the show.
Yeah.
Oh. So a trade.
I don't know if I told you guys this story.
Oh, are we still recording, Ray?
Yeah. Before you go on, Lawrence, I just wanted to say that back when I had like the movie cards and everything, I would go to the choir with like Ramon, and like there's one instance like we would duel, and we had like bootleg copies of the Egyptian gods, or at least he did anyway, in his deck, and because this was during the time when the Egyptian god cards were like rare, like Exodia was, and they were expensive everywhere, and you couldn't find them anywhere. Yeah, so we used that in our deck, and then when we used the Pyramid of Light in our deck, we go by the anime rule instead of the actual like effect of it. So that's pretty much the only situation that we would use the Pyramid of Light. Because
those descriptions for the cards made by trading card companies in America were terrible.
Yeah. Essentially,
they're trying to make a freaking strategy, and it just doesn't work for them. Because honestly, I think, and I don't know. I just don't like the way that the trading card companies handle the anime rules. And on that note, I wanted to bring up a situation for me. But Isaac, what were you saying? Because it's different. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that some of the quality really varied depending on where and who you bought it from. Like if you're gonna get your cards from an actual toy store like Toys R Us, then you'd expect a brand. I can't believe I had to get specific, but you'd expect like a brand name pack of cards.
Exactly.
You would get your money's worth. You wouldn't get some lousy pack of who knows where it came from like your local bodega at the corner.
Guys, I kid you bodega
not.
Cards.
Those cards are being sold at bodegas.
Chimichurri.
The Yu-Gi-Oh business.
Ooh, guys, I got
Slifer.
salami.
I got raw. I got Blue Eyes White Dragon right here.
I got Blue Eyes Fried Chicken.
I got mango con salami, guys.
I'll sell you 2 God King. I'll sell you 2 Exodia legs with
For
one
$1,
ham
my
and cheese
friend.
sandwich.
$1. Okay.
You slip him a 20 and he slips you a
years
brown
ago.
paper bag with like a sack full of bootleg God cards.
Yeah. Like, I got the stuff. You got the stuff? Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I always just check for
I
that.
heard you got that Dark Magician girl. Special edition.
So
wants this
many
jarhead?
years ago, when around the time of the second season, when they were if you guys don't remember Arcana, he was a clown guy.
Yeah,
And he had this
the dude with the Dark
setup.
Magician.
He had this elaborate setup for like Yugi versus Arcana.
It
Saws
the
and having their legs
their
trapped.
legs
You
were
get a
trapped.
key.
In the English version,
So
if the buzzsaws reached your leg by losing all your life points, you get sent to the shadow realm. In the Japanese version, your legs get chopped off and you lose blood and you die.
So basically, I used to have this friend.
Doesn't hold back.
Yep.
Obviously, you'll find out in a second why he's not my friend anymore. But he invited me to we had just met a few weeks prior, and we were really close friends at the time. And he invited me to duel him, and basically the bet was, obviously the person who loses has to leave and never come back. So had I won, I would have gotten control of his space.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts on the Pyramid of Light movie? And because afterwards we have one more movie to go off of, and then we'll start speculating on what this movie could be about.
From the way you and Lawrence described it, I'd love to go see Pyramid of Light.
I've
never really seen a Yu-Gi-Oh movie before, so that would be a great first for me, even if it's not the first in order. I'd love to go see it.
I mean, it's not as bad as people describe it. It's a really decent film, and I really liked it as a kid, and it really capitalizes on how popular and how amazing Yu-Gi-Oh became essentially. And I like it. I don't really care whatever people think about it. It's a great film, and it's like a fun time. So, I really recommend it, especially if you're into the card game. It's probably probably one of the highlights of the series, and also I think, well, then again, I don't know if Japan animated it or not, but the animation is really good as well. And yeah, like I said before, even for a 4Kids movie, there's a lot of dark stuff in here.
I genuinely miss those days where I would just sit and watch people sell their cards on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not to say it's a dead fad, but I used to see it in a higher number than now, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe that's just YouTube.
Yeah, people would trade their cards off of YouTube. Ramon did that, and for a short time.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was kind of cool to know that there was a community of Yu-Gi-Oh traders on there, because even though I couldn't get into the game because I didn't have a deck, and I always dreamed of buying one but never had the cash for it, and my parents were really into, buying cards for me at the time, I thought it was cool. I was an outsider, but I was still into the fad. The only thing that kept me outside was the fact that I didn't have a pair of cards to start with. I mean, my older brother did, and he handed us down some cards, but I guess I never really got into learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I should have, I guess I didn't have enough to play with another companion, like my brother.
Admittingly, I learned the general rules of the game by watching the anime and brushing up on the real world rules and regulations through the rule book from starter decks and everything. That's how I got into it.
I never understood Dungeon Dice.
No, that was really short-lived. I literally bought the Dungeon Dice Monster starter set and I couldn't get into it. It was interesting, and I didn't want to not get into it, but there's a reason why you don't see it alongside the trading card game today.
I saw it for 4 episodes, and I couldn't help but mock the, those lines in traditional anime where the characters get very enthusiastic, and you can tell right through that they're trying to sell this.
Yeah.
I'm not pinning Yu-Gi-Oh up there as one of those shows to sell a fad. Like every other show will do it, but I just remember that one character from one episode where Yugi's he's dueling the other guy, and the guy's like, "Don't you dice?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that thing.
He'd even explain the entire rules to Yugi in that episode. He had to let him find out everything on his own, and he still won.
No, you defeated me.
At my own game.
That I made up.
And I didn't even teach you the rules about it.
I forced it on the show's writers for no reason. And you can be... Was that honestly just in one episode, or was that like at least 2?
It was like I think it was like a 4-parter or something like that. It had a GBA game. I think that was successful.
Oh, okay, that's cool. How was Dungeon Dice different from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Basically, the goal of the game is to like play your the name implies that you have to roll the dice. Each type of dice has a different quality. Like, you either move or you attack or you do something. And I don't know. It's kind of complicated, and I don't remember off the top of my head. But the dice did different things, and you had to attack your opponent's like heart meter. Like your opponent had like 3 hearts, and your monsters had to attack 3 times, I think, or something like that. And when they run out of hearts, they lose. And the only way you can attack them is if your monsters get to their side of the board. And to do that, you had to fill out 6 spaces across the map, and your monsters can only trap on your monsters can only trap on your space on the map. But yeah,
I can see where they didn't catch on. It's not as...
It's kind of like chess, but like with more mechanics and everything.
I can see where they didn't catch on. That's too much to keep track of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. It's not a bad...
It's an interesting concept, but,
Yeah. It doesn't correspond to it as well.
I at least gave it a shot, I'll give it that.
Yeah, the dice looked cool, too. What was it? Red with white?
Yeah, like red and blue and white, yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Dimension the dice.
I could never understand how they threw them with the dice lodged between their fingers and just perfect roll.
Yeah.
How do you not lose your dice when you throw it that hard?
They probably do that trick that they had on YouTube about how you can get your dice to always land on the same number by just like melting it by baking it in the oven or something like that, like on a certain side.
That's ridiculous.
I saw that years ago, and I was like, "Oh,
from buying it at a local bodega."
Yeah.
Guaranteed perfect bodega dungeon dice.
$1.
Right now, I get your free Exodia legs.
Jackie, get back to selling Exodia legs and dungeon dice.
You see him like shut a guy painting on cards, trapped in like a cellar. You don't pay me.
They don't even use Photoshop. They just use like paint, and then they just like print the cards and just put them inside card sleeves. Call it a day.
Dude, I could tell a bad Yu-Gi-Oh card just from touching it. Like the plastic felt so bad on the front.
You could smell the bootleg Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Like the wrapping around the card that kept it dust free.
Yeah.
Or they kept it from like being tattered. It was like a thin sheet of plastic that was on the front face of the card.
Oh, Lawrence wants us to restart the call. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will return. Okay, so we should probably explain what's going on before we go even further. So, hey there again, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually been a while since everything that you just heard was recorded, all like 40 whatever minutes of it. So, I should explain what's going on. So, technically speaking, me and Isaac were able to finish the rest of the episode originally on the night that we recorded that previous recording, but unfortunately only 40 minutes of it recorded for whatever reason. I don't know what happened, but I decided that since 40 minutes of the episode did at least manage to get in, and since it ended at a point where we were able to continue, thankfully, I decided that we should be able to resume this at the point that we left off. So, and with that said, though, even though losing the original recording was sort of a bad thing, right now us being able to record this about a month later from the original recording time comes pros and cons. First off, we have a tiny bit of new information regarding both the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Mario movie, and also, thankfully, we now have both Lawrence and Caesar back. Well, we have Lawrence back, rather, and now we have Caesar, who was originally going to join us for the episode that particular night, but couldn't make it for whatever reason. But now he's with us.
That day.
Before I move further, Caesar, want to introduce yourself formally?
Hey, it's Green, and I wasn't there that day because I was at work till 6:45.
So yes, folks, NintendoFanCOOLCIL is here to talk some Yu-Gi-Oh! And talk some Mario. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, due to unforeseen problems, Isaac wasn't unable to join us tonight due to some internet issues. So if he manages to join us later, then yippee. But if he doesn't, then unfortunately, we won't be able to have him.
It's okay, Isaac. We'll just take this amiibo off your hands for you.
Yeah, you don't need that cheek.
We'll take it on your behalf.
You don't need that cheek. What else did you get? Bowser, Sonic.
Before we get into a Smash Brothers tangent, let's get back to Yu-Gi-Oh! So before,
wait.
Do you have anything to say, Caesar?
No,
okay.
I'm good. I can't wait.
Okay, so we in the original recording, I recall we were just wrapping up Yu-Gi-Oh! So before me and Lawrence give in any closing thoughts, let's get Caesar's opinion on this now that he's here. So Caesar, just to recap, there is a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie coming out in Japan in 2016. There's no confirmation yet about whether or not it's coming to America, and we hope that it does come to America. And also, we don't have too much plot information. However, during the time that we, since the last recording and up until right now, we've managed to get a tiny bit of new information regarding what the potential plot could be. And apparently, there is, in fact, a duel that's going to be happening between Yugi and Kaiba. The thing is, though, is that I don't know if the article that I was reading is dependable or not on it. Like, it's from an anime website, and it's on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki as well, but apparently Yami Yugi is in fact in this movie, but we don't officially know that as of yet, because again, the concept art that was released for the movie doesn't show Yugi with the Millennium Puzzle on, and also, I know it's concept art and that, nothing is final, but at the same time, we have to take whatever we have into consideration, and since, everything that we currently know about the movie is translated from Japanese, we can't exactly know officially like what's going on until they give us all the official English versions of like confirmation and everything like that. So we only know it through fan translations at the moment that Yami Yugi will apparently be in the movie. Though we don't know if this takes place in the series or after the series. But the new movie, Caesar, it's going to be starring Yugi and Kaiba. It's going to take place in the original series, and we were originally speculating that it was going to take place after the original series ended, aka after Season 5 when Yugi and Yami dueled in the last episodes. And with the new anime articles that were just released that I just discussed, it might apparently take place sometime inside the series itself rather than afterwards because of how Yami is present. But regardless of whatever the movie will turn out, what's your general viewpoint and expectations on the film? Like what is your experience with past Yu-Gi-Oh films, and what do you look forward to in this film?
Well, the past Yu-Gi-Oh films, the only one I've ever seen is the Pyramid of Light. And when I first saw it, I actually had no idea of like when like the movie like took place, like because like be that like I hadn't like by that point when I watched it, like I still hadn't seen like all of like the episodes yet, and I still haven't like actually seen every single one of the original series. I've seen most, and so like I kind of like just like jumped to the conclusion that like the movie did take place like near like the end. But from what I'm like finding out like just now, it appears that like the movie like probably like I think like took place like after the Battle City Finals tournament, like
Yes, that is in fact correct, Caesar. The movie does take place after Battle City and before the Orichalco season.
yeah, before that. So like when you just like had like all three, and like Kaiba was just like now like finding a way to like beat him since he basically just lost in his own tournament that he created. But yeah, as for this new one, yeah, I haven't actually like yeah like not like know much about it, but from what I'm hearing of how like supposedly of how like Yami and Kaiba are gonna be it, and like of how like they're gonna be dueling. So from what I'm speculating is that this could probably like yeah either take place like after like the end of the original series, or like with the fact that because like even though like because like I also it may either take place after the end of the original, or it might take place like maybe like sometime in between like the ones that came after, because like even though like GX had like a new like protagonist Jaden, we remember that we did like see Yugi like in the first episode, and like it wasn't like just like regular Yugi, it was like Yami
No,
like,
it was regular Yugi.
it was, but like it wasn't like, but wasn't like
GX takes place 10 years after the original series. Also, he's not wearing the puzzle in that scene.
It's weird because I could have sworn that I heard like Yami's like voice like when he like
It
bumped into him.
was Yami's voice, but it wasn't his actual voice. That's Yugi's voice, like when he matured 10 years, at least in the dub, anyways.
So Yugi matured sounds like Yami, huh? Well, I've been fooled.
Yeah, because at the end...
Makes sense, because Yami is pretty much it's not confirmed, but we can pretty much just assume that Yami's probably an ancestor of Yugi, so considering that Yami looks kind of older than Yugi and acts older, you know, I guess it can be assumed that, you know, the same thing probably applies to Yugi. Like, when he gets older, he probably sounds and acts like Yami.
Yeah, and just to help you out there a little bit,
a lot of people get confused. Sorry to interrupt you, Lorenzo, but just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of people do get confused. Caesar is not the first, so you know I'm not gonna throw him like I'm not gonna like make fun of him or anything like that.
I'm gonna throw you under the bus now. I'm kidding.
I'm not gonna blame him for anything because a lot of people get confused. Just to clarify, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever, especially if you're watching the 4Kids version of it, in the first episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, that is not Yami Yugi. The events of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX take place 10 years after the original series. That is the original Yugi that Jaden encounters, who later shows up throughout the series. I think, in the Japanese version, he shows up near the last episodes of season 4, where he takes him back in time to fight his to duel his younger self. Just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah,
but, go on, Lorenzo.
The spoiler alert that I was gonna say was that in the very last episode of the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Series story arc,
which we already sort of like gave the tagline for earlier in the episode, but yeah.
But pretty much, if you didn't know, Caesar, that Yugi and Yami, Yugi, Atem, have their battle. And,
right, I remember.
And they have that battle, and pretty much...
Spoiler alert, Yugi wins.
Yeah, and so...
I already knew, so it's...
And the bet was pretty much that, I think, if I remember correctly, if Atem won...
If Atem won, he stays with Yugi, and... Yeah.
And if Yugi won, then he had to leave. And so Yugi won that on purpose, even though he knew that he could have lost. He could have easily forfeited, but he didn't. And so that's beside the point. But I'm saying that
it should be noted on that note that, you know, fun fact, that means that technically Yugi himself is the only person who was ever able to defeat Yami in the series through legitimate means, no cheapness or anything, no cheating, no giving a evil card to Yugi or anything like that. Nothing like that. That literally the only legitimate loss that Yami had in the entire series.
Yeah, and
no bull crap or anything.
And so when like the events of like Bonds Beyond Time happen, it's I think in between the it's definitely somewhere in between like probably the Orichalcos.
Obviously it's after Battle City because he has the duelist and everything, and Pegasus is Yugi, and also Pegasus is Yugi's friend at that time. I think maybe it's after Orichalcos because Pegasus started teaming up with Yugi after the events of Pyramid and Orichalcos, so I think it might be possible since Pegasus was in that movie, and you know.
It has to be after Orichalcos, but before that final season.
Yeah, but before season 5, I guess we could safely say.
Yeah, and that's just pretty much because, like, he still has his puzzle in Bonds Beyond Time, meaning it has to take place way before that last episode, and even speaking, later on in that final episode, he doesn't, in that first episode of GX, he doesn't have his puzzle, but then, like you said earlier, the fact that he grew up, since it's been, 10 years, right? Since Yugi and the Tem had fought, he doesn't have his puzzle, and he'd already aged, and finally Yugi is tall again, and he's tall, and he has that deep, sexy voice that Dan Green voices, and
we already know Tia's probably gonna marry him because of that.
Yeah, eventually.
Well, for more reasons beyond that, but you know, one of the pros that she'll have for that.
I think also what could be a theory that I've read is that even though the puzzle is gone, the spirit of the Tem still lives within Yugi. So any time that he would want him,
I've heard theories about that too.
That even though they're really gone, that they still not haunt him, but they're still around.
Well, it's kind of like the Avatar. Like whenever Aang needs to talk to one of the past avatars, he can, because then all he needs to do is just meditate, and then the spirits that he wants to talk to of the past avatars come to him and talk to him. It's kind of like that in a way. It's like, you know, if Yugi ever needed Yami, then, you know, who knows, maybe he could come back, because, you know, when you think about it, how the heck did he take Jaden back in time to duel his past self? Unless Win Karibo was responsible for it. Because I'm pretty sure that even though Yugi doesn't have the puzzle anymore, he still has his dual monster spirits with him, like Karibo and Win Karibo. Because Jaden doesn't have a Millennium item, and he has a dual spirit. Chaz doesn't have a Millennium item. He has dual spirits. So, you know, it could be it could be the monsters that took Jaden back in time, but at the same time, you know, Yugi has to know Yugi still has to know some sort of mystical thing is going on with him.
And you know what? On that note, I really, really, really want to see the GX, the 5Ds, the Zexal series continued or ended at least in a movie form or something.
I would like to see movies of those two eventually.
Those series are really good. Including the Bonds Beyond Time movie.
We don't care what anyone has to say about the GX, 5Ds, Zexal series, whatever bad things anyway. We've taken a liking to those series, and we enjoyed them for what they are. There are some things that could be fixed here and there, even though it's mostly for kids, but, you know, at the same time, that doesn't automatically degrade that doesn't degrade the series in any, you know, way. And we would legitimately like to marathon through those series at some point.
Yeah, I'm actually working on GX at the moment, but that's besides the point. But
By the way, thank you Netflix
GX,
for putting Yu-Gi-Oh on. Hopefully we can get all the series on there.
Yeah, GX is actually my favorite series, even though I do love everybody has to love the original series. But after
it's a requirement, yeah.
But I really love the GX series, and that's just pretty much because, I don't know, I just feel like the elemental hero concept really just dug into me, and it really just stuck with me. I don't care if the god cards weren't there. Well, technically they were there, but they weren't there.
The newer, like, Sacred Beasts, yeah.
And then the Slifer Red, Raw Yellow.
And then there's that. And then technically the God card showed up at the end of the series, and then there was also that fake Raw card that showed up in, like, Season 2 or 3 or whatever, that Jaden dueled. Yeah.
And so I know how how GX ends. I just would like to see it dubbed in English. And
which
at this point,
4Kids has acknowledged, like, since GX was still around, and has refused to do for whatever reason because they wanted to move on with 5Ds. Which is kind of bold, but whatever, marketing.
And I just really hope that the movie that's coming out soon really just addresses those endings, like, very well, even though it is, I know it is a Yu-Gi-Oh movie, but it'd be really nice if they, brought that up.
Me and Isaac were speculating that, that this movie could potentially be a bridge between the end of the classic Yu-Gi-Oh series and into GX, or possibly even something like similar to Battle of the Gods, where the Dragon Ball Z series is finally being continued in canon format, mind you, with like a new Super Saiyan form and everything, and with new storylines and everything like that. And we have the new Frieza movie coming up later on, and the Dragon Ball series is finally being continued after so many years. And Akira Toriyama, as I recall, is behind all of this. And, I think what the new Yu-Gi-Oh movie should be is, it should be something like that. Something that is like, it continues the original Yu-Gi-Oh series and acts as a bridge into the newer generations. Like, how are the elemental heroes, like, born? Like, how are synchro monsters created? Like, because we were theorizing that there's a trading card in the TCG called Azure Eyes White Dragon. Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, rather. And it's basically a synchro monster version of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Same attack and everything, some effects thrown in. And me and Isaac theorized that this card could potentially be a card that Kaiba creates for his own deck and uses, like, in this movie, as a way to, like, start the creation of the synchro monster archetype. Which would explain, like, how they come into fruition later on in 5Ds. And then we could also possibly see, like, how does Kaiba end up creating Duel Academy? Because in the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga, if you read the English version of it, I don't know if it's in the Japanese version, but in the English, there's a line that he drops when he's having a flashback at this tournament, where Kaiba says, "We might have to create a school in the future that teaches people how to properly duel and become a better duelist." And I read that and I'm thinking, so maybe this is how he comes up with the concept of Duel Academy. It would be cool if they dropped something like that in the new movie. If Kaiba strikes some sort of deal and some sort of idea to start creating a duel school, and then we see him coming out with the blueprints and everything, and it would just be cool if we just saw a whole bunch of, like, connections to the future Yu-Gi-Oh series and have that all interconnected with each other in this new classic movie. And maybe we could even see a cameo by young Jaden. Because
I would really love to see young Jaden.
If you remember that one episode of GX, he had his, like, those Neo-Spatian cards that he created. I think they got sent into they got sent into the Kaiba Corp space capsule thing. And that would be pretty cool if we could see, like, if that's another thing that Kaiba comes out with during the movie. We actually get to see Jaden's cards being launched into space, which would start the events of the Neo-Spatian saga in GX. I know we already saw it in flashback form in the GX series, but still, it would be cool to see it in the movie.
No, yeah, I agree. I would really... You know what really would be awesome also, and I know this is kind of tangential, but I'd really like to see a live-action Yu-Gi-Oh movie.
That's something that I've thought about for a really, really, really long time. How would a live-action Yu-Gi-Oh movie play out? Like, first of all, there's I know, like you just said, it's tangential, and that we have to get back on topic really fast, and also wrap up Yu-Gi-Oh to move on to Mario. But I just want to, discuss this real fast now that you bring it up. So, if you ask me, a live-action Yu-Gi-Oh movie, first off, you have to ask the question: does it relate in any way to the actual anime series or manga, whichever is your canon? Personally, does it relate to the main canon of the series, or is it just its own little spin-off thing that's based off of the series itself? That's the one thing that you need to ask first off. Secondly, would it be made in America and played by American actors, or will it be made in Japan and played by Japanese actors with an English dub afterwards, kind of like the live-action Death Note films?
Could you imagine they went Dragon Ball Evolution on Yu-Gi-Oh? I think I would cringe. Okay.
They revive Pegasus with the wonton soup.
Let me just defend that for a second. I don't think Dragon Ball, for those fans that might hate
keep in mind this is Lorenzo's opinion, so respect.
Dragon Ball Evolution was a really, really, really good movie. I agree, but I just think that they shouldn't have made some of the characters, Goku, really look extra white boy. I mean, he's pretty freaking Asian in the anime, and
I think that if they would have well, first off, I think the Kamehameha is kind of compared to the actual series, it's not as
air blast.
Yeah, he literally he airbends in the movie, like if it's some sort of flash forward calling to the last Airbender film.
Exactly, I was like that. That was honestly one of my big downfalls of that movie. I was just like, I don't like, and that, connecting it back to Yu-Gi-Oh, I would really hate for them to just do that to the movie. I really enjoyed Dragon Ball Evolution, but I just don't want to, I mean, people didn't really like it. I don't want to see a live action Yu-Gi-Oh movie take that same path.
Yeah, if you ask me, I want, if there ever was a live action Yu-Gi-Oh film, first off, I would like Kazuki Takahashi and whoever else was involved with the Yu-Gi-Oh series to be behind it, so then that way it gets the right direction and everything, and we can get as close enough connections to the original series as possible. And also, I would appreciate it if it had a balance between silliness and seriousness, in terms of because Yu-Gi-Oh always has a humorous balance and a serious balance as well. I would like it if the movie wasn't too serious, kind of like how DC is doing right now with their films. No offense to everything, the fans and all that of those films. I do like Man of Steel, but I do have my issues with it as well. But similar to Dragon Ball Evolution, I'm just hoping they don't, if they ever do make a live action Yu-Gi-Oh film, they don't screw it up and they don't make it too serious, and that they make sure to make it fun for the family. Make it also make it for the classic Yu-Gi-Oh fans that are still around to this day. Make it make it enjoyable for everyone. That's basically what I want, because I don't want them to just make it a cheap live action spin-off cash grab and call it a day. Really, it's if they want to keep a good reputation, and if they want people to actually get interested in this kind of thing, because the minute they announce a live action Yu-Gi-Oh film, people are going to be crapping all over it with controversy and everything. Yeah, you know for a fact that they're going to be comparing it to Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Evolution and everything else that people don't like just because they think it's fun to not like something, even though it actually is good, and they don't think it's good because they never actually watched it.
I think Last Airbender was pretty good though compared to Dragon Ball Evolution. I thought it really captured that the Avatar thing. But,
we'll discuss more about that in another episode of the blog, probably in the near future. But just to close in on the topic and to make sure there's no ruckus going on in the comments, dear God, the dislike bar, please, ladies and gentlemen, don't dislike the video. Respect our opinions. Just to get back to and wrap up Yu-Gi-Oh! I just really hope that this new anime movie that's coming out in 2016, I just hope that it does a really good job with, plot and everything like that, and that it gives absolutely no reason for people to hate on it. I hope this movie is canon, by the way. I hope that this movie isn't just a because that's the one thing I hate when people make a feature-length film based off of a series and they go on record to say it's not canon, even though it totally could fit, like potentially fit in the actual series. Like for Dragon Ball Evolution, obviously you know for a fact that's not going to be canon in the actual Dragon Ball series, but for this kind of a thing, like like Equestria Girls, for example, obviously that is canon because it fits in with the series. It is part of the exact same universe, same characters, same stories, and everything. I want the Yu-Gi-Oh movie to be that. I want it to be canon within the actual Yu-Gi-Oh universe. I don't want anyone to start saying, "Oh, the movie's not canon because it's a movie and I don't like it. I think it's stupid." No, that's bullcrap. All right, all of you people who say that out there, shut up. That is complete bullcrap. I'm sorry. I know we're taking a different tone right now, and that normally we're supposed to be like nicer and everything like that in the m3Atl0af vlog, but I just got to get this out of the way right now. Just everyone who ever says that and lists that as their reason, even if they don't say that explicitly, just stop. All right? You not liking the movie is not a real reason why it should or should not be canon. All right? Just getting that out there. I might make a separate rant video some other time, but just wanted to get that out. But again, I'm just hoping this movie is canon and that it's good, and that Kazuki Takahashi, if he's involved, he does everything in his power to make it an outstanding film, and that hopefully it does also come to America, and hopefully if 4Kids actually does get the rights to dub the movie and get the original voice cast back, I would like that as well. And when you really think about it, 4Kids doesn't really do any damage to the Yu-Gi-Oh movies. Again, like I said earlier, there's the deleted scenes in Pyramid of Light which have no reason to be deleted, but at the same time, they never really edit the films other than just to put the things over the cards and stuff like that, like make the pictures in the cards bigger and everything and take out the text. But other than that, they never really take out any of the violence that happens in the films. They can get away with a lot more in the films than they do with the series. So if 4Kids does get their hands on the film, then I'm hoping that they also do good with the dub of it. But other than that's just all I have to say. And I hope that the plot is, no matter when it takes place in the original Yu-Gi-Oh timeline, that it's good. Now, Caesar, I heard you just now. You want to say something?
Yeah, I get what you mean, and of how people would think of the movie. Like, we already had the Pyramid of Light, and that's already canon too, and I enjoyed it as well. So in terms of this new one, I'm either speculating that maybe scene of how it could be at the end of the original and before the start of GX of how the cast, of how the group was basically starting to feel growing up more, and of how we show the start of the builds of the Duo Academy and either that, or it could probably then show maybe it could basically have maybe the four protagonists of the four series, maybe teaming up, maybe another Bonds Beyond Time thing. I'm not sure how would that work, but it could be possible, or depending on where they're going in the direction with this movie. I'm not sure if it would be possible, because also again we also have Kaiba, like you said, of how he's gonna be dueling Yugi. So we really don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm just hoping for the best of this movie as well.
Agreed fully. Lawrence, any words?
Not really. I just, honestly, you hit it on the nail on the head. I really just, whatever, in terms of the 2017 film, I just really just want them to do a good job. Because recently I just acquired Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time on Blu-ray. By the way, if you get a chance to get a hold of that, all you watching, do it. It is a really, really good...
And it's affordable. And it comes with the Japanese dub.
Yeah, and Japanese dub with English subtitles. So, and some bonus stuff, but I won't talk about that. I really, I own both Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies. And honestly, they were really well made. And The one thing that I actually wanted after watching Bonds Beyond Time, I wanted a longer Yu-Gi-Oh movie. Because that was a really good movie, and I really just wish that it was longer. But I think just for this 2017 movie, I think you're going to get that longer movie, but I just really, really don't want them to screw it up. And knowing the people that make Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything, they're not going to. Because, what was it? Bonds Beyond Time came out about 3-4 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah. Came out like
and
something years ago.
2008.
To celebrate the 10th anniversary of like the anime, I think.
I forget.
No, it wasn't 2008. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that far back. It was 2009 or 10, one of them.
Which one? Bonds Beyond Time?
Yeah, or 11. I don't know.
The Pyramid of Light.
Pyramid of Light. That was like 2004.
Yeah, that was very, very, very early.
I was long before I even like had any career on the internet. Before YouTube was even a thing, and before like m3Atl0af Man even was like in existence.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good movie, the Pyramid of Light. I really want them to take that route with Pyramid of Light and just make it better, because we are in 2015 and things are, in terms of technology,
people will crud on your movie if you don't do it good. So it's not the it's not the pre-1980 era anymore, or the you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. We need to step it up.
Like back in the 80s, it was okay. Like if you had a puppet playing E.T. because the technology wasn't okay. That's fine. But now, which by the way, E.T. was a great movie. Just saying. But today, you put a puppet on a movie, and you got people questioning, well, what the F word?
what the heck, man?
Seriously, I mean, like, technology is good enough to make a really, really great Yu-Gi-Oh movie for this year, for the coming years, and pretty much that's what I gotta say. And I just don't want them to mess it up. I know they won't, so I have faith in them. However, sometimes I'd like to play devil's advocate, so let's see what they can do.
Yeah, like, I have faith in them as well, but at the same time, just hoping that they go in the right direction and don't screw it up. And we'll just have to wait and see where this will take place in terms of the series. Either like after the end of the original, or like, probably another like movie like gathering like the protagonist, or like we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Agreed. So, on the very low off chance that anyone involved with that film is listening to this, don't screw it up. Pass it down. Don't screw the movie up. Please do it for the fans. Your original fans still exist. You just need to reach out to them, okay?
Your fans of the original series still exist. I still collect the cards.
4Kids, the same goes for you. Everyone is rewatching the series now that it's on Netflix.
Right.
Alrighty, so...
You got... Yeah, just do it right, and just make sure that it's good. I enjoyed both Pyramid of Light and Bonds Beyond Time, so I hope the same for this.
Indeed. Oh, and also, since there will inevitably be a collectible card released with the movie, hopefully if it does come to America, please make it one card. Don't make it 4 or anything like that. Don't make us go crazy. And don't make people on eBay try to
entire TCG series.
Don't make all the
damn.
Don't make all the scalpers on eBay like go crazy with it, and also make the card useful at least. Yeah. Unless it's like a god card or something, or some special card from the movie, then I'll give that an exception. But make it something that anyone can immediately use in their deck.
Yeah. And I'm saying like
to Malefic World.
Like, wouldn't it be cool if they finally released Harakathy in America, and that's the way they released it through the film, like as a promotional card?
Why don't they do that?
Because they still haven't
already released Item Timaeus.
They still haven't released that card yet. Like, we have all the regard cards now. We just need the fusion for it, and it still hasn't come out yet. They only released it in Japan, and even then in Japan it was a very, very limited release. Like only like a small amount of them, like 1,000 or something like that. I'm probably got the number wrong, but only a small amount of them similar to that number got released. So if you go on eBay and you search for it, it goes up for high prices. And even then, it's not even in English, so you can't even use it, like, unless you do it casually.
Yeah.
Chucky, get back to work on scalping all of the Herekvi cards and put them on eBay.
Okay. Yeah.
But
whatever card. Whatever card comes with thing, yeah, I hope it's like just something that we can attain, like and it's like just like one card, like don't make us go through hell like collecting this, like if it were the 5 pieces of Exodia.
Oh,
I must obtain that right arm.
What are these pieces of Exodia that you talk about?
I will personally give like a pass for the Pyramid of Light promotional cards, because I did manage to get all 4 of them, as I stated earlier, in one go because of the situation that happened with me. Regardless, please don't do something like that. Just make it. You guys got it right with the Bonds Beyond Time film. Please do it like that, where it's an actual card from the movie that people can actually use, and because of the promotional cards from the movie was released in a really small amount for the booster packs that they were released in, it was so easy to collect and to finish for me, which is how I started my Malefic deck in the first place, by the way. Make it like that. Make it a card relevant from the movie that people can actually use in their deck, and make it a good card.
Right. So you mean to tell me that you actually have well, I'm just guessing you have the Pyramid of Light.
Well, I had it. I don't know if I still have it now, because
I
gave one of them to my cousin, but I don't know if I still have all 4 cards in my possession.
Yeah, I have the Pyramid of Light.
Blue-Eyes Shining Dragon.
But just show the records, I did have all 4 cards. I know I still have Sorcerer of Dark Magic and Wadapon. Blue-Eyes Shining is somewhere in my house.
I love Blue-Eyes Shining. I just wish I could use it, you know?
You lucky. It's the Blue-Eyes White Dragon.
Safe for work, Caesar.
I still do collect some Yu-Gi-Oh cards here and then, and nothing beats the Yu-Gi-Oh series than the collectible cards.
Indeed.
And I don't mean collectible cards, go to the store and you buy a pack of cards. Not those collectible cards. I'm talking about
promotional cards.
Yeah, promotional cards, God cards. Those really, really strong cards that you can't really just
Exodia was such a rare, because you know how in the show, like I know we're supposed to be wrapping up Yu-Gi-Oh, but in the show, one of the mythos in the original series was that there's a lot of rare cards that are printed in limited quantities and are only available in certain locations in the world. The Blue-Eyes White Dragons, for example, only 4 of them exist in the Yu-Gi-Oh series. One of them is Yugi's grandpa's, and the other 3 belong to Kaiba. And in real life, we used to have similar situations like that before the God cards and Exodia started to become printed in mass reproduction and started to sell cheaply on eBay in multiple variants. Back in the early 2000s, we had situations like that where Exodia was so expensive and so rare to find, and you couldn't really find them in any booster packs at around that time. He was only ever in the first set of booster pack cards, like Legend of Blue-Eyes White Dragon, I think it was called. And he was rare. You go into those Beckett Yu-Gi-Oh magazines and you see the card listings. Exodia, the complete set is listed for $65, and the holographic is $95 or something like that. And the God cards, same situation. You can only get them if you bought a specific game that is no longer available in store in mint condition. And to buy all 3 of them together in whatever online store or magazine catalog that you find them in, they're really, really expensive, $100, and even then you couldn't really use them in the trading card game. And if you wanted to know how to use their effects, you had to read the manga or watch the anime, because they're not printed on the cards. We had to wait until we had to wait until the legal versions of the God cards came out to understand them.
Right. And I can pretty much understand how to use Obelisk and Slifer, but Ra is just on another level. I don't even know how to use this card.
Ra has
you have to recite the poem.
Ra has literally gone on record in the actual anime and manga to it's been stated that he's pretty much the king of the 3 god cards, essentially, like the leader.
Yeah, he's pretty much it, because
he or she, whatever.
Because in the show of how the way Merrick used it, and even like the characters like Joey was saying, like Rosalind is class of his own. He has a bunch of special abilities, and it's they were making some dramatics it's almost impossible to destroy this god card. But that's not good.
Alrighty. But yeah, definitely agreed. So yeah, we have a lot of fond memories with Yu-Gi-Oh, but just to end the topic, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that in the near future we will be having a Yu-Gi-Oh retrospective episode. I do have plans for that I've actually been planning out for some time, because I do have a separate list of m3Atl0af blog episode ideas. Some of them with fan suggestions. Thank you guys, by the way. Please keep those up. And Yu-Gi-Oh, a Yu-Gi-Oh retrospective is on that list, so definitely we'll go more in depth to our fond memories of the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise in that episode, which I'm assuming you guys will probably be down for. But yeah, so I guess for the time being, since we're done with talking about the new movie, we'll move on to the second topic.
Is to use a Winged Dragon of Raw Call to transition into Mario. Ready? Here you go. Great beast of the sky, please hear my cry. Transform thyself from orb of light and bring me victory in this fight. Envelop the desert with your glow and cast your rage upon my foe. Unlock your powers from deep within so that together we may win. Appear in this shadow game as I call out your name. Mario!
Winged Dragon of Mario!
Attack with
Winged Dragon of Bowser!
Attack with Fireball!
Okay, but...
Okay, so...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are now done with talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And now we are going to be moving on to our second topic, finally, which is the rumored Super Mario Bros. Animated movie that apparently Sony Pictures is going to be behind. Now, from me saying that alone, this is really, really huge news. Nintendo and Sony coming together to make a film about Mario of all franchises.
Ah!
Oh my god!
This, whether or not the movie actually does good, if it, and that's assuming if they even go through with the movie, because at the moment, the deals aren't fully, they're not fully confirmed right now. Nothing is set in stone at the moment. They're still working everything out. But if this movie does come true, and if it does come out, and even if it does terribly, this is still history in the making. This is really, really big, because Nintendo and Sony have not teamed up for anything ever since the whole little thing that they had with the SNES and Nintendo PlayStation thing, and the dare I say the Philips CDI.
Ah! It burns!
It burns!
It burns! My eyes!
Okay, but the point is, this is a really huge thing, and for Sony to even think about doing something like this in the first place, and for Nintendo to even consider their deal if they do go through with it, this is, I have to say it again. This is history in the making right now. We don't even know what this movie is going to be about, but the fact that Sony is doing anything Mario related, because this is a Sony, this is an official Sony Pictures film. So that being said, they're probably going to be releasing this at some point on the Sony, probably on the PlayStation Store for you to buy and watch on your PlayStation console. An officially approved Nintendo product available for purchase on the PlayStation Store for you to download and watch to your pleasing on your PlayStation 4. Just think about that.
I'm thinking. Is it done yet? No, okay.
Just think of all the different possibilities they can do. Hopefully, just to let's go more in depth. Avi Arad. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but if I am, yay. But if I'm not, I'm sorry. But really, I don't even know how to pronounce that name, and I've been seeing it in multiple film credits all the time throughout Sony's films. But you may know his name, and it may seem familiar to you from the original Spider-Man films, and I think the new ones. I'm not exactly sure, but he's been involved with the Spider-Man films, and he is the one who wants to make the Mario movie. The information about this whole deal in the first place came from the recent Sony hacking scandals that where a bunch of emails from Sony Pictures and all their subsidiaries were leaked. And what among those hundreds of emails that were leaked, one of them was A.V. Ra trying to gain the rights to using the Mario franchise for an animated film from Nintendo. And he's even gone on record to confirm that these are in fact legitimate, and that he actually is like trying to like contact Nintendo and get the rights over through it. And apparently they're working stuff out at the moment, but there's no solidified confirmation that the movie is in fact greenlit. But, you know, for now, it's just like, I guess we can say it's more than just a rumor at this point, that, you know, technically it is confirmed, but it's just not real yet. But we can say for sure it is in fact real that he is trying to make the film, and that, you know, since this came out of Sony Pictures, Sony will be behind this film. So, Nintendo and Sony working together to make a movie. Huh. What do you guys think?
Well,
Being the loyal Nintendo people that we are, and even though we do have PlayStation experience.
Well,
No pun intended.
I definitely have PlayStation experience. I mean, I may be like the Nintendo like guy of the group, but growing up like alongside the Game Boy Advance's PA, my first systems were that and the PS2. So I did I pretty much was more of a Sony person growing up until 5th grade and then middle school, where I started becoming more of Nintendo, and I finally was able to get more of the games, and then I pretty much then stopped, and then pretty much then from then on was a Nintendo guy, and not really a Sony guy anymore. Besides, other than having the PS3, which I really don't play anymore. But from this idea of just Sony and Nintendo working together, and I'm not really sure how this is gonna go, because I mean, I don't even really know, or we really don't know of how Sony sees Nintendo, of the Sony of how Sony was seeing Nintendo before, of or of how Nintendo just saw Sony, because people are always a lot of people on the internet are always saying the Sony makes the better games, or Nintendo makes the better games. But now we're having this movie, and now we really don't know how this is gonna work out, because even though and not to mention that we don't even know if Sony has experience. Well, I mean not experience, but we don't really know how this is gonna work out, because people are obviously gonna wonder, are probably gonna assume this probably is gonna go downhill, because there has already been a Mario movie before, and people said that one was really bad, the one that came out in the early 90s, and the shows as well. Some people liked the shows, and some people really didn't like them as well. I thought the Mario Bros. 3 cartoon was fine, and I'm currently watching the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. I think that one is fine. But in terms of this now movie, now we really don't know how this is gonna work out. What do you guys think?
Lawrence?
Well, Mario is... Well, first off, I'm going to start off by reiterating the comment that I started off very previously. I'm going to go stab my eyes out now, okay? Because even though I'm a very big Nintendo fan, and I really am, the fact that Sony's directing a Nintendo movie is kind of iffy for me, because I feel like part of Sony would kind of sabotage the movie so that to make it their own property. However, I am going to stop from stabbing my eyes out because, god damn it, it's a Mario movie! Hello?
It's a Mario movie!
I'm actually, as this podcast is going, I found the Super Mario Bros. Entire film on YouTube, and I also got a chance to look at the ratings, the first Mario Bros. Film. My eyes are burning like acid because that movie
Lawrence, look at it this way. It cannot be as bad as the F.U. rating that, I forgot what website gave it, like the Spill Crew, I think.
My eyes!
Oh god, the rating that Eric brought up in one of our Team Triforce episodes.
But I saw 1-star ratings and 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was just like, ugh. Just imagine Sony makes Spider-Man, and they make a lot of really, really, really other great movies. But, the one that sticks out to me at the moment is Spider-Man. And so, if they can make the Super Mario Bros. Movie exactly as they do great with the Spider-Man series, well, they used to, I wouldn't have a problem. And I feel like it's going to be quite the success, especially in the box office, because adults who want to feel nostalgic are going to go see it. Little kids who are just getting into video games are going to go see it. Teenagers who are currently in between video games, Mario video games, Super Smash Bros., are going to go see it.
Yeah, it's pretty much a given that anyone who's a Mario fan is going to go see this. Whether they grew up with Mario, whether they're old or new to the series or anything, whether they're a little kid, they're all going to go see it.
Exactly, like the current SpongeBob film, like I just said.
Yeah.
Anybody can go see it. The SpongeBob film is for those that grew up watching SpongeBob.
It helps that Stephen Hillenburg came back to write the movies, because you know for a fact that he probably knows that the original fans are going to go out and see this, so why not help out the current people? But yeah, I definitely agree, because the Nintendo and Sony, if they do go through with this deal, they're taking a lot of risks in the first place, because the whole reason that there's hardly any films based off of Nintendo properties is because they've been keeping their franchises away from movie companies that wanted to make movies based off of them because of what happened with the Mario film back in the day. But the thing is that, well, first of all, they kind of gave the rights to use Bowser and whoever else appeared in the Wreck-It Ralph film. They gave those rights to Disney because they knew for a fact that they not only would they be minor characters, but they entrusted them with using them in the first place for whatever reason. And it's rumored that Mario is going to be a big part of the second Wreck-It Ralph movie. But so with the fact that Nintendo is even trusting Sony in the first place, of all people, their own competition, to make a film based off of their plumber, which we don't even know if it's going to be like we said earlier with Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't know if it's going to take place in the same world as the main continuity of Mario, or if it's just going to be its own little thing. We do have some confirmation that A.V. Arad wants to make it an animated film, so thankfully that's a plus. It's not going to be live action, unless it's actually a live action film mixed with animation, but we don't know that yet. But
hey, so wow, that'd be just like the Mario Brothers cartoon, the Super Mario one.
Yeah,
it has the live action and the cartoon.
And yeah, that's another thing I wonder, because this is gonna be a movie which may last around either to an hour. It's gonna last over an hour to an hour and a half through 2 hours or so. So, well, I don't see this being over I don't see this being as long as Shutter Island or Transformers: Age of Extinction. I just don't. It's Mario, but chances are this movie's probably going to be 2 hours or less, if not at least a little more. But regardless, I don't see this film being that long. But regardless, it is going to be a long film, and Mario is kind of has a cardboard box personality. He hardly speaks other than saying "woohoo" and "mamma mia" and all the other lines that you hear him say at specific intervals in the Mario Brothers games. And
right.
The only time you hear him speak a lot nowadays is either in the very, very, very rare Nintendo Directs, where they show off a new Nintendo product like they did with the 3DS, or if you go to the Nintendo World Store during those certain promotional periods where Mario and Luigi show up to talk to you. Other than that, that's if they're gonna make a film based off of Mario, they better as heck have him speak the entire time. And that's the thing. Is Charles Martinet gonna be voicing Mario and possibly Luigi if they show up in the film? And like, if they have lines in the film, is he gonna come back to voice them with the same voice he uses at like Nintendo World and all that? That's the thing, because Mario's a silent protagonist, but you gotta have him speak the entire time if it's gonna be a movie, compared to a game where dialogue isn't really necessary since you're just platforming all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like...
It's me, Mario!
Yeah, I mean, like, Link is a silent protagonist, and even though, like, even though we haven't really had, like, Legends of the movie, we only really had, like, the cartoon,
and we also have the upcoming Netflix series, which he also kind of which he also is going to have to speak in, unless he speaks like a separate language that no one understands.
It's me, Zelda. Oh wait.
Yeah, it's Zelda. We really, obviously, they would obviously need to like make like Mario like talk in this movie, because and we really like are wondering if Charles Martinet is gonna voice Mario, because like like you said, like I thought like we only really heard like Mario speak like in that like promotional thing, or like when we can like talk with them like at certain like days, like where we can talk with them downtown at Nintendo World. That's one time we actually hear like Mario's like voice of how like he sounds in a game, and compared to the only other times where we hear Mario talk, but it's not his game voice, it's just in the cartoons, and that's about it.
Yeah. When the moon hits your eye like a big piece of pie, that's amore.
And like Link's voice, like we never like we never actually like heard like of how like he would like sound if he was like talking, like if he was like ever like shown like in like a promotional video of like something. The only times we ever got of like a Link voice was just the cartoon, and I didn't mind that voice, but like well, excuse me, princess. The line got old pretty quick. He says it so many times. That's one of the reasons I can see people not liking his voice in that cartoon.
I'm trying to communicate with you, Steven.
Well, at least he talked in that cartoon.
True.
Because, well, listen, which would you rather have, a talking Link or a Link that just shouts "Yeah!" Like the exact same sound clip for like all 52 episodes. With no subtitles.
To explain exactly what Link is saying.
And then when you watch it with closed captions on the TV, it's just "Yeah!" the entire time. Like, they don't even go out of their way to translate it for the deaf people. Or if you have your TV on mute.
Could you imagine, like, 16 million, just like 16 episodes or more episodes of just Link going, "Yeah!"
Literally, it's playing his soundboard like every episode. That's what it is right there.
One episode you hear him sounding like Ocarina of Time Link, and another episode you hear him sound like Wind Waker.
They just keep using different games.
Another one
and then all of a sudden, CDI Link. Can we please stop? Whoever's like, Lawrence, is that you playing that? Because I would think you're the first person to bring up a Toon Link soundboard.
No, that's not a Toon Link soundboard. It's actually just the sound effects of Link going, "Yeah!"
It's Link no matter what. Regardless, before we go off topic again with something that sounded so suggestive,
He's a little kid, Ray.
May I remind you, this podcast is supposed to be safe for work, and not only do we have that unfortunate implication, but we already have a good number of curses in here when I said no cursing.
Hey, I didn't curse.
So,
anyway.
so GD isn't a curse. I can't say the full word.
God donut?
You know which one I'm talking about.
Go on.
So, besides Mario talking, which is something that they're going to have to figure out, we also have another issue. Plot. What the heck is this film even going to be about? When is it going to take place? If it does take place in the main Mario continuity, like, what is this film even going to be about? Because usually when it comes to good storytelling, the Mario RPGs usually take good care of that kind of thing. And when it comes to just saving the princess or saving something that Bowser or somebody captured, you know, the mainstream Mario titles already have, like, they already got that covered as well. And really, if we got a movie about that, it wouldn't really be anything surprising. So in the original recording of this episode, me and Isaac theorized that this movie could potentially, like, and this is just speculation. There's no rumors that we can, or evidence that we can use to back up our claims, but we theorized that maybe this movie could be a prequel film to the entire Mario series as a whole. Like, because there have been some, like the Mario anime movie that was only released in Japan, and, you know, even the live-action Mario movie delved into it a bit. How do Mario and Luigi, by extension, find the Mushroom Kingdom? How did they go there? How did they meet Princess Peach? And how did she get kidnapped? Like, will Bowser finally explain why he always kidnaps Peach, even though, you know, even though we all know the actual reason why he does it? Like, will we learn the origins of Mario, the mainstream Mario from Nintendo's famous video games that we all know and love? Will we actually learn his origin stories in these films? Like, that's what I'm theorizing. Like, maybe it's literally like an origin film.
Hey guys, I just got off the phone with Sony Pictures. They just told me the plot for Super Mario Bros. For that new movie. You know what they told me? It's a film about Mario. Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that makes the Wikipedia article easy.
Okay. They also told me that Bowser takes the princess, kidnaps her, and Mario has to go save her. Mind blown. Genius.
I don't believe it.
I've never seen it before in my life. That is freaking awesome.
Sony.
What do you think, Ray?
Well, obviously, this is a totally original idea that Nintendo has been doing for the past 30 years. I think they should go forth with it, and they'll probably make millions and millions of dollars off of it opening weekend, beating out all the other films like Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 by $2.5 billion.
Yeah.
Totally worth buying for your PS4.
I'm dead!
This is so crazy. I mean,
can't wait for the Blu-ray release.
I mean, of how Sony just thought up with this idea. I mean, what if they just decide to give Bowser like his little minions?
Yeah, do you think we'll see Goombas or Koopas in the film?
What about these? Wait, I have an idea. What about this name that they could use called Koopalings?
What about this guy? Like, I don't know if you guys heard of him. They call him Bowser Jr., and apparently he's some sort of new addition to the Smash Bros. Roster, or whatever that game is. Do you think they'll implement him into?
Well,
I don't know about
I'm guessing
that. I don't know about
Bowser
Bowser Jr., but
is a baby of Bowser.
I don't know about Bowser Jr., but they might implement this guy I heard of who's like supposedly fat and he hates Mario. And he just goes, wah, ah, ah.
Does he? Is he also greedy?
How did you know?
Actually, I didn't. I never heard of this guy. I just took a look, I guess.
Huh. Wait.
What about that dude from this game called Donkey Kong? His name is, I think it's Donkey Kong?
I think it's Donkey Kang.
Oh, no, I'm confusing it. Maybe it's Diddy Kong.
No.
What about like,
Banjo-Kazooie?
Or what about the other old Donkey Kong? What about this Donkey Kong that's really old? And he's like cranky.
I think it's Rayman.
That creepy sprite thing, Rayman.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of that blue hedgehog from Sega consoles.
Oh right, you mean Kirby?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay, no.
Yeah, Kirby is like my favorite robot master in the Street Fighter series.
Oh my god, yes! And like, and Samus is totally my favorite plumber from the Grand Theft Auto series. I can't even begin to describe.
Did you see that new episode where she got married to Peter Parker?
Yes! I love that one! And the one where...
And her son from the future, Master Chief, like, brought them to the future to show them the world of the Xbox 360.
Yes, and the one where Daisy cheats on Captain Falcon and they go clubbing. Oh my god.
But you guys heard about
Dude, Mr. Krabs made a cameo in that episode.
Right, I remember that.
He and Mrs. Puff were grinding too.
Oh, guys, you gotta remember that. Of how I just found out that in there's this a new guy in GTA 5 and his name is Link, and he supposedly can drive around and meet up with hookers, and he found this one named Rosalina.
And Reznov.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I really wish you could have caught that.
Don't forget Dragovich, Steiner, Krenchenko.
And the Orange Bandicoot, Crash.
Oh no, you're thinking of Spyro.
Oh right.
You know, you know that yellow dude with the robot.
Oh yeah.
That they're also making a movie about. I think Microsoft is behind it, and they're gonna be releasing it in 2001.
Oh yeah. You're right. But.
And by that I mean 2001 BC.
You mean Jack and Daxter?
Yeah, those guys from the Sly Cooper series.
Right. With the protagonist of that series is Kratos. I remember that.
Oh, Ash Ketchum. Yeah.
All right.
I think he has a sidekick called Mega Man.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think we've come full circle at this point. Let's stop. I'm so sorry for how long that joke extended, ladies and gentlemen, but that's just how fun it is to make these podcasts and blogs and such. But on a serious note, though, when it comes to making a plot about a Mario movie, there's not really too much that you can go off of that can't already be explored in a video game about with Mario.
Even the sports games are about defeating Bowser somehow.
Even the sports game spin-offs have plot.
Yeah, like sports or the Mario Party, because usually almost every Mario Party practically Bowser finds some way to ruin it.
Guys, in Super Smash Bros. Subspace Emissary, Bowser is still one of the villains that you have to defeat in that game.
Bowser is actually competent in Subspace. He acts as a legitimate threat to Mario and Donkey Kong and all these people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not even it. What else? What other games? I'm thinking, Mario Kart. Technically, because you guys are racing against each other, he's still a freaking villain. And don't even get me started with the Mario Bros games, because the main point of it is Bowser. And then Super Mario Sunshine. You would think that it's about cleaning up and pollution, but no, guess who's at the head of that pollution?
Bowser!
Bowser! And you fight him in
And Junior.
Yeah, and Junior. Mama Peach!
And the only game where the villain is not Bowser... Wow, I said Mario. The only game where the villain... that's actually true, that Mario is a villain at one point. In the Donkey Kong games, and the Donkey Kong Jr. games, that is when the villain is Donkey Kong, or the villain is Mario, respectively. There are literally zero, can't think of any at least, zero Mario games where Bowser is not a villain in some way, shape, or form.
So would that like not? So would that exclude like the games where he fights like alongside you?
You see, that's the thing. He's not like that's the theory about Bowser. Even though in that one game, the Super Mario RPG, he fights alongside you, and Super Paper Mario and the Paper Mario series, wherever Bowser is playing alongside you, he's still freaking evil. Even though he's still like exactly. He's still
after
evil.
this game is over, I'm still gonna be evil and kidnap the princess and such for another 20 years, but for now, we're bros.
Exactly, that's the point.
Alrighty, Bowser, that's okay.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. I completely forgot about those games. That the villain of those games is Count Blumiere / Black. And,
Black.
And Count Black, and then I forget who the villain was in the RPG series. I think it was something that had to do with Final Fantasy. Literally, because it was really
yeah, there was a Final Fantasy boss in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was
Mario RPG. I think the final boss was Smitty. I think it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He joins you, but then it's like if you hear him talk, you hear him say some pretty freaking evil stuff. Even in Super Paper Mario, he's still like his dialogue is still really like, hey, why are you doing this and that? And it's like, that's my job, you know? I remember a specific dialogue, I think, between Black and Bowser's like, well, you're not supposed to terrorize the people of this world, that's my job. I'm just like, he's still evil. So it's kind of like playing on that quote, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
A dual giant running around my academy and stealing my students' cards and crushing their spirits? That's my job!
Exactly. It was even funny because like even like when like Bowser's like scene of how like easy just Bloomier just like took the princess, he's just like, hey, here's a thought, you calm down and free the princess or else, and he was about to like get like his army to like try to like beat up, I mean to like get like Count Bloomier, and he's like, nah, Bowser, how about this? How about like I take like the princess and all of you to a place where you guys are gonna get married.
Well, actually, I even thought of another game, Luigi's Mansion.
Oh yeah, that one.
Those two.
I mean, people speculate if that was like the real. Well, obviously, I wouldn't say it really was like the real Bowser because of how like
some speculate it's his spirit, and that the events of those games take place at a point where he's like not around, like when he's technically deceased, but even though after that game he comes back to life.
Yeah,
like Mario finally conquered Bowser, and Bowser passed, but he's like came back to life eventually after that game.
Yeah, because like in this game, like when you fight, spoiler, when you fight like a King Boo in the final battle, like he doesn't like appear like when the battle starts. It's just like Bowser, and you just assume that he's like fighting alongside him. But no, when you then like use like his poltergust to reflect one of those spike things.
Right. He technically still is a freaking villain in Luigi's Mansion. Are you kidding?
Yeah, when you use the poltergust to reflect one of the spike things and like pop his like head, then you just use the poltergust and you suck King Boo and some of his HP out.
Bowser kind of has like Eggman syndrome right there. Like even though he's not, even though sometimes he joins the good guy's side, or if he doesn't seem like he's the villain or isn't involved with the situation, by the end of the game, it turns out that he's actually the villain this whole time, even though he's never made an appearance in any other cutscene in the game. Speaking
of Eggman, I know this is kind of off topic. If you guys watch the Super Mario. The new Sonic animation, that revolves around, what's the name of the game? I already forgot. Sonic Boom? Right. Sonic Boom.
The Sonic Boom TV series?
Yeah. Eggman is both villain and friend, because he kind of plays that role of, like, he's still evil, but then he's like, hey, Sonic, what's up?
Is he like one of those characters in... Is he one of those characters in cartoons where he's technically the antagonist, but he's kind of like, a regular neighbor to like the main protagonists who are good?
Exactly. Like literally, he comes onto the island and is like, "Hey, Sonic, how are you doing?" He's like, Eggman, what are you up to this time? Nothing. I'm just here to visit my old pal Sonic. Of course.
So he's essentially an amalgamation of Squidward and Plankton.
Exactly. It's hilarious. Plankton is actually the best way to describe him because he, you know, he has his evil plots, and obviously he's still a villain at the end of the day. But he has moments where, like, Sonic even helps Eggman in a lot of the series. I've actually been binge watching the series a lot lately because I love the series.
Where do you watch? Where do you watch it, by the way, so I can catch up?
You literally just search up watch Sonic Boom episodes and you'll find every single one.
Wow.
And they're about like 12 minutes long each. So it's not really long, and you just every episode you want to see more, you know? But that's totally off topic. I'm just saying that, you know, I feel like Bowser's that type of, like, I wish Bowser were that type of villain, but he's not, you know? Like, hey guys, I'm a villain right now, but Mario, do you mind if you can help me make this cake right over here, and then I can continue to kidnapping your princess.
Well, according to Mario, and when you visit him at Nintendo World, apparently they invite Bowser over to Thanksgiving and all the Christmas dinners and such.
Oh my god!
I remember there was this one video where this kid asked, what would you buy Bowser for Christmas?" And he was like, "Bowser, well, I would buy him a fire extinguisher." And then and then immediately afterwards, the kid asks, "What would you buy, Giant Bowser?" "Giant Bowser? Oh, I'll get him a giant fire extinguisher." That's why I love when Mario comes to Nintendo World. He always gives the best answers to your questions. But I definitely agree. Bowser is one. See, he is the comedic villain from time to time. At the same time, I do kind of wish that he was sort of like that in a way. But at the same time, he kind of keeps like balance in a way. He always like he keeps his evil role as being the villain and kidnapping the princess like whenever, just cause that's the tradition. But at the same time, it would be cool to, like, you know, see him just like totally hanging out with Mario, like in Mario Kart or something like that.
Yeah, you know,
go karting with Bowser.
I kind of wanted to add this point that before I see a Mario movie, I would like to see a Mario TV show, and not the cartoon series. I love the cartoon series. I think it's a good thing to mention. Oh, there you go. That's where he plays the Eggman role in the Mario series.
Yes, King Koopa.
When he's King Koopa in the cartoon series many millennia ago.
Yep.
That is where he plays that friendly villain Eggman role. And it's true because the people that make it is DIC.
Deke.
And yeah, Deke. And no, please don't.
Caesar, I know where you're going with that one little chuckle that you just let out. I knew what you were thinking.
I actually every time like before, if you get the chance to like go to like a Ross or a Marshalls or TJ Maxx, in the DVD section, sometimes you will find
a Mario cartoon.
The Mario cartoon, Link cartoon, the Legend of Zelda cartoon.
Sometimes you'll see the Mario cartoon and the Sonic cartoon together in a double feature pack.
Exactly.
Which would never happen in the past. And
at one point, I actually I stocked up on every single one that they had, because they were practically cheap. They were about $2 each, which is a really relatively
really good price actually.
And they come with like 6 episodes on each disc. So pretty much by the end of it, I have like 24 episodes, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna watch the entire thing. And it's funny because both series are made by the same people, and their villains are each playing that neighborly role that I was just talking about in Sonic Boom. Eggman does that in the Sonic series, and Bowser does that also in the Super Mario series. And I'm sure that is Ganondorf in the Legend of Zelda series?
I don't know. Ganon is in the series, but I don't know about Ganondorf, because I know that the series was out before Ocarina of Time was, so...
Yeah. So if Ganon...
came out in the early 90s or so, or late 80s, like, so, and yeah, it was only Ganon, and
I
they
bet
Ganon.
I bet Ganon plays that role in that movie as well. In that show. I'm sure he plays that role of neighborly. Hello, Link. How are you doing today? And then
he was kind of like Ice King in a way, or like Skeletor.
Oh yeah, that's an even better way to put it. Ice King is pretty friendly, but he's also a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a genius way to play it. It kind of plays that satirical, comedic type thing, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of thing that I would really like to see before we venture on into a movie, because I think you really have to capture people's attention first.
I was actually gonna. Oh, you can finish what you were saying.
Yeah. So I mean, you have to capture people's attention, because if you just jump straight into the movie, it's not going to be. People aren't going to like it. And the fact that Netflix is releasing the Legend of Zelda Netflix series,
which is confirmed, by the way, so that just raises the chances of this Mario movie happening even more.
And so when they create a Legend of Zelda movie in due time, it's going to be like, people are going to know what it is, because there's still some people who don't know who Mario is, people who don't know who
There's
Link
probably
is.
not a single person who doesn't know who Mario is. He's that famous.
And that's the thing. There are people that don't know. And because they don't know, which is really sad, honestly, it just means there are reasons, and I can't really state them because I don't know these people. Anyways, but there are people that don't know. And so by giving them something to work off on, they'll know who it is, and then they'll eventually get interested, and it kind of increases their fan base. When they increase their fan base, it makes their work more successful.
It sparks interest, the work becomes successful, people actually want to see more, it helps them gain revenue, etc., business, profit.
Exactly. That's why SpongeBob was so successful. That is why...
And why he still exists.
Yeah, and why there's a new movie. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie were successful, because everyone knew what was going on, because everybody watched it. Everybody went to the store and they saw cards.
Guys, let's be honest. Well, first off, we all know that the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game would not exist without the anime, because the anime and manga are the reason why the trading card game exists in the first place.
It
was
the game came first. The card game
no. The manga came first before the card game, because let me explain. In the manga, there was this one chapter where they introduced the card game as like magic and wizards or something like that. I know the name is not correct, but just follow along with me. It was supposed to be a one-shot plot arc for that one chapter, and when that particular manga was released, people they were interested in the card game that Yugi was playing in that chapter, and they wanted it to be a real card game. So they kept going with the card game plot and motif in the manga, and eventually it just spun off into the Yu-Gi-Oh series we now know it as today, with the cards and everything, instead of just a new random different game every episode. And that's how the trading card game came to fruition in real life. And it wasn't even Konami at first. It was like Bandai or someone, or somebody released the original completely different versions of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then eventually the newer Yu-Gi-Oh series after Season 0 came out, and with a new series came a new version of the trading card game, and that's where we are right now today with the second series anime and the second edition of the trading cards.
Yeah, and
the trading card game would not exist without the manga. So for the people who bash on the manga and anime, stop.
No, and I get that. This is the way that the timeline goes, for those people who didn't follow. It goes from the manga to the card game to the anime, and then the English dub. And that is how it went. And so, honestly, there were people playing the Yu-Gi-Oh game, just like how people are playing, what's the name of that new card game?
Card Fight Vanguard?
Yeah, that game.
Which, by the way, was created by one of the people who worked on the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga. Actually, the exact person who was working on that manga, who did the art and the story and everything.
So
Akira Ito, by the way.
Anime? They came out with an anime for that, right?
The Yu-Gi-Oh! R, no.
Card Fight Vanguard.
Yeah, they did. Card Fight Vanguard is both a manga and anime. So
it's not that popular, but in the beginning, it got really
I I see people playing it though. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It exploded in that way because the anime existed. Once the anime existed, people are like, I really want to play this game. And then I started seeing tournaments, and I'm like, who plays this game? And then I watched a few episodes, and I was like, oh, that's why they play this game. It's kind of like Duel Masters. Even Duel Masters came out way before
Duel Masters.
And then the anime came, and people, even me, I bought my first. I didn't buy them because technically, it was at Comic-Con a long time ago, and they pretty much gave me a whole bunch of these like free cards because I want a game. This is when Comic-Con was very generous.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and I'm pretty sure people who played the Pokemon trading card video games got into the actual card game in real life because of those games.
I never got into it. I just did it for collecting. But Duel Masters, when the anime came out, people were exploding over the cards. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh was still the #1 successful trading card game.
Probably still is to this day, next to Magic.
People even say that Duel Masters was and Magic too. And people were saying that Duel Masters was a ripoff of Yu-Gi-Oh. It was not. It was its own series, even though they did almost the same exact thing.
Kind of like Digimon, where
exactly
different series, different concepts, but similar ideas and such, and
exactly.
a lot of coincidences. But yes.
So, when the anime came out, things exploded, and that's exactly what's going on even with the Mario series. That people are playing the games and they're collecting stuff because they know, like, they've had that experience. They're going further into things because they know, oh, this is Mario, this is who he is. And, you know, Mario exploded back in a long time ago when people would show actual, like, you know, we had Nintendo Power back then. We had a lot of ways of showing.
Yeah, a lot of people knew who Mario was back in the day.
Yeah. And even today, people still know who he is because he's the flagship of Nintendo.
Like, you know,
if you go to Club Nintendo,
he's the Mickey Mouse of Nintendo.
Yeah, well, like, listen, when you think of Nintendo, you think of Mario right away. When you think of Disney, you think Mickey Mouse. When you think Nickelodeon, you think SpongeBob, Pokemon, Pikachu, you know, everything.
Yeah, and also when I think cartoon... I can't really say that. I was like, when I think Cartoon Network, and then I stopped because I don't really.
Because they always change their flagship character.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm pretty sure it should be like Finn or somebody or Steven, but before it was Dexter and Powerpuff, and even Johnny Bravo.
I can't even say Finn. Adventure Time.
Or Ed and Eddie.
For some reason, Adventure Time kind of died in the past few months. I don't know why. But anyways.
On topic.
Yeah. On topic. So people, like, if you go to the Club Nintendo page, their logo is a freaking Mario hat. I mean, guys, Mario, come on. Oh, and I kind of just want to reiterate, because I did a little bit of research while we were doing this. Mm-hmm. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, even though Bowser becomes your friend and he plays along your side, you start off the game, and what's that? Okay. You start off the game, and Bowser is actually the villain in the game until the end. Midway into the game, that's when you realize, oh, it's not Bowser.
It's Smithy.
Exactly. So I'm just like, there really isn't a game where he's not a bad guy. Except for this one Super Paper Mario game. And for half of Legend of the Seven Stars. I can say that. Because even in Sticker Star, he's a villain. In Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, villain. Paper Mario, villain.
Yeah, in the first Paper Mario, it was almost the first time where we seen that, like, he almost, like, legitimately almost killed Mario. Because Mario was knocked out for a couple of days after that fall.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door, he's still a villain. Not so, but obviously not like obviously the big one. He's just like a comedic villain. You know, like just like bumbling idiot, if you will.
Yeah, I mean,
he still appears for a final battle, like near the end before the Shadow Queen.
You just compared the Eggman from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog to the Eggman in Sonic Sat AM, And then you immediately think of like Eggman's theme from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, like do dun 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 pow pow pow. You play that with Bowser.
We completely forgot to mention Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2.
That too.
Where he is also a freaking villain
who tries to destroy and reconstruct the galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, Super Mario 64, he was just like he was looking for the power side, but at least I mean, like after Sunshine, well, like Sunshine and like the games that some of the few games that came after that before Galaxy, like he was pretty much sort of like a joke villain. Like even though he was a villain in Sunshine, I couldn't take him seriously, especially with that voice. Mario, how dare you disturb my family vacation? Like I couldn't like really take him seriously, like especially like despite the fact that they made him a joke villain in Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door. I feel like after like 64 and like Paper Mario 64, like I felt like the next game where he was more like intimidating and threatening was Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, and I also would like to mention that
make it fast because we have to wrap up soon.
Real quick. So there actually was an anime movie of Super Mario Bros. That we didn't mention.
I did mention it multiple times. Yes.
The
anime movie that never came out in America that I saw years ago.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably the closest representation we'll ever have to like the Mario game's story being portrayed in an animated series.
He's a villain in there too, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. Thank you. But yeah.
And yes, Bowser is also the villain of that.
And even
who spoiler alert at the end of the movie ends up working in Mario's shop.
And even in the live action film, the first one in 1993, Bowser is not a turtle, but he's a villain, and he's actually a human with like spiky hair.
Who turns into like a reptile near the end of the movie.
Like what? I'm just like, what? Anyways, that was kind of my rant and my way of saying I can't wait for the Super Mario film. I can't wait to see how they play off Bowser as a villain again.
Agreed.
And, I just honestly, I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Me neither. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sony does with the Mario movie, and I'm hoping that if this movie does come true and come into fruition, everything is set in stone by both Nintendo and Sony. I hope that both companies do their best to make the film as amazing as possible. I hope Miyamoto has some sort of like input in the movie. I hope that, if he gives the people behind the movie some guidance, he'll be able to help the movie become successful. And I hope that the Mario movie actually does take place in the continuity, and if not, it's at least good enough to like exist alongside the continuity and is worthy enough of being deemed a great Mario movie. And honestly, just like what I said with the Yu-Gi-Oh movie, I'm hoping for the best for the companies and all the people that are going to be behind this. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge waste of money, a huge failure, and and it has no worthiness of existing, and it doesn't help the fact that Nintendo hasn't been able to give out their franchises to anyone who wants to make a movie out of them, and they'll probably lock them away in a safe for like another 30 years until like another new deal comes up, which will also inevitably fail. No, I want the film to be successful. I want this to be the starting point for like a whole legion of Nintendo movies that come out. And who knows, maybe years from now, maybe this is just a start. Maybe this Mario movie is actually the beginning of a whole Avengers-esque adventure where we have Mario in one movie, we have the Zelda series going on Netflix. Who knows, maybe it's kind of like the DC universe and Gotham and the Flash and Arrow and everything. Maybe this is all just a big Nintendo conspiracy to have in 10 years a Smash Brothers movie where we have all the Nintendo properties come together. We already have Pokemon established as a successful Nintendo TV series and movie franchise, so why not?
I just wanted to add one closing question before we sign off.
Yeah, but at least before Caesar gives his final thing. What do you want to say, Lawrence?
Wouldn't it be cool if, and I'm just spitballing here, if Miyamoto or Sakurai or Reggie appears in
or Iwata.
Or Iwata in the Super Mario film, and as like a
that would be
Stanley
pretty
cameo.
cool. Like, do you remember at the end of the very end after the credits of the live action Mario film, where like it's not the actual people themselves, but like the pretend creators of the Mario video games are like they're saying like we wish to make a video game about your many adventures, something like that. That would be pretty funny if they made a cameo in that movie, like as a post credits Avengers scene where it's like, we would like you to join a new tournament, which is taking place in 10 years
your world,
in a vast new world. We call it Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, I mean, I just like to see that Stanley cameo of like.
Imagine he showed up in Big Hero 6. Why not?
Yeah, I'd like to see like the Stanley cameo of like Stanley, that was cool. Or even Miyamoto, Sakurai,
Iwata,
Reggie, you know,
Onuma.
any one of them. That would be so cool. Like,
that would be really awesome.
You know?
What if they have like a contest where a fan can show up in the movie and we show up in the movie?
We're canon in the Mario.
We're canon. Or what if they even do what if they have like Super Mario Brothers the movie, the video game, where it's literally just the movie, but you get to insert your Mii character in there, and you just watch the whole movie with your Mii in it.
Oh my god, yes. So it means that we're canon in the Nintendo universe, meaning we're canon in Legend of Zelda and Metro.
Which is connected to the Lego universe, which is connected to the real world.
Somehow. Which it means that we're connected, we are canon.
We are the Omniverse.
We are omnipotent.
We are canon everywhere. In participating whatever that word Henry said in that one episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was my spiel. I really can't wait for these movies, and that's just really the bottom line. So,
Caesar, any closing thoughts?
Like pretty much it. Like I'm just hoping for the best for this movie as well. Just hoping that that they can like work together well as a team, and that even though they're working on this movie, that Sony doesn't do anything to Sony doesn't do anything that will jeopardize the movie. Because like I said before, I grew up with my first Nintendo system being the Game Boy Advance, and then eventually the GameCube. But then alongside that, I was more. It was also the PS2 that I had as well. So I actually grew up alongside first more of Sony and a little bit of Nintendo, and then Nintendo started growing more. For me, when I finally was able to get more of the games growing up. So I'm just hoping for the best, and and how basically when this movie would take place, whether it be canon or not, and of how the story would be implemented, and be it that since obviously with most of the Mario games not having a story aside from the RPGs, I'm just wondering of how the story is gonna go, if I just wondering basically it'd be cool maybe if they'd take a villain from one of the RPGs as well and throw it in the movie. I'd say Falfa would probably be a good choice if they decided to throw an RPG villain into the movie. But yeah, it's pretty much it, and just hoping for the best.
Well, this is us. It's a good way to stay in shape. I hope Ray heard that. Wait, did he get cut off? I hope he didn't. Ray?
Oh boy, awkward.
It's a good way to stay in shape. Did he get cut off? I hope not.
I don't think so. Because I don't see
Hello?
anything.
Hello?
It's a good way to stay in shape.
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, my mic was muted the entire time. Alright. I was trying to say, thankfully, hopefully, hopefully Nintendo and, Sony and people behind the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Mario movie, hopefully they all do good and don't do anything, like Caesar said, to jeopardize the films, and everything turns out good and agreeable, and everyone who watches the movie likes them, and, in general, like we're trying to say this entire episode, hopefully they're successful, hopefully they could even lead into some more sequels and such, and, yeah, well, at this point, we're just hoping for the best from all of them.
Yeah, along with what I said of how be that since they probably how they might have to wondering of how they're gonna do the story either they find a way to make a story out of the main Super Mario Brothers game, or do that of the style of the RPG, and it'd be cool if they throw in a villain like Falfo from the Mario and Luigi series.
We got you, Caesar.
And my one other thing that I think we could I hope that they do please put Daisy in the movie.
Well, that's a good way to stay in shape.
An inside joke we'll explain in a later video.
She is my favorite Mario princess, and she gets a lot of hate from people, and I don't think she deserves that.
Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, I suppose that's us. So, to wrap up the episode, ladies and gentlemen, here are your questions. What do you guys think of the 2016 Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, or the rumored Sony Nintendo Mario movie that may or may not come out? What do you think about them both? What do you think about Nintendo lending their rights to other companies in today's day and age for other cinematic things like the Zelda series on Netflix and everything? What's your whole general thoughts on that? What do you think about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie? What do you think it should be about? Or the Mario movie? What should the plot for that be? What do you guys think they should do for either film? Just go all out if you have to. We do read the comments. And also, what do you guys want to see in future m3Atl0afblog episodes? Be sure to leave your topic suggestions in the comments as well, because I do take them into consideration. And like I said before, I have a whole list, and I would like to add your potential topics on there if they don't already exist. And I just want to keep the conversation going, and I want to keep this whole series going because, I'm sorry for that long delay, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, but, between the time from us volunteering at PonyCon and all other kinds of things that got in the way, we had to dedicate some time to other, more important personal things that we needed to contribute our time and effort towards. But we're going to be back in full swing pretty soon, and it's starting with the release of this particular m3Atl0afblog episode. So, first off, thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into the series. And yeah, definitely leave your topic suggestions below, leave your answers to the questions. Check the description in case I forget any questions right now, because I might add some more questions later on. But yeah, that being said, check the description for any episode, by the way. But But regardless, thank you guys for listening, and Lawrence and Caesar, thank you so much for joining me. Isaac, if you're listening to this, which you probably are, thank you so much for joining me earlier, bro. Sorry you couldn't be on right now, but thanks anyways, and yeah. Any goodbye messages to the viewers?
This is RoyalDudeLorenzo. This is a good way to stay in shape. And I'm signing off.
This is NintendoFanCOOLCIL. Waka waka.
Beautifully said.
And this is Meatloaf Man. And we are the Fun Channel and also Team Triforce. Please subscribe to all of us, and links to this description. And yeah, thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode, because it's going to be a pretty interesting topic. It might even, you might even say it's going to be a bit clashing a bit, because, I don't know, who knows? Because next,
we certainly don't.
Next episode feels like it's going to be a clash between multiple franchises in a battle to the death.
It's time for a console battle!
And That is a good way to stay in shape.
That's your hint, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we're done here. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.
That's a good way to stay in shape.
Okay, okay, they got that. Bye.
All right.